G'day everyone. Welcome to Poker Pulse Podcast, Episode 2. Today we have a special episode. We'll be talking about State of Origin. As usual, I'm joined by co-host Troy Mclean. How are you, mate? How are you going?
Yeah, not too bad. How are you?
Good. Now, you've been up at the WPT playing. How's that been going for you? I heard you had a good result last night.
Come third in the mini main last night. It's a pretty good result for about 50k. Had a few other deep runs in like the opening and the mystery bounty, I think it was. But yeah, pretty reasonable series. I'll take it so far.
Yeah, that's good to hear. And Bert Perry, he was on that final table as well. I believe he took down the win via ICM. You know, he had a good result, so that was really good to hear too. Troy's obviously running good, and Bert Perry's running better. So that's two good friends of the show that we like to hear. And obviously, Catherine, you've been playing the ladies event at WPT. How have you been going this week?
WPT's been awesome. I got to play the ladies event. I also played the 880 bounty. Definitely didn't run quite as well as I would have liked. But no, I still had a really good time. The ladies event was very, very good. Well run, good structure. So I was happy to be a part of that. And then, I've just been up here creating some content, just having a really good time. Got to go to the players party. That was put on very, very well by WPT as well. So I've been loving it.
Yeah, that's good to hear, Catherine. So on tonight's episode, we've got a special guest, Didier Guérin. He'll be going through the State of Origin with us. We've also got a promotion that we're going to be able to give away a ticket to one of the events at APT on the back of that. So more details to come on that. But what I'm really excited about too, we've got a new segment that's called the Player Probe. Catherine, you just mentioned we're doing some content with that. We asked a few players a few questions. The first one we asked them was, where is your most favourite destination to play poker in Australia? So we might just have a look at that.
Where is your favourite poker destination or favourite place to play poker?
I'd probably say I like it up in Townsville.
Real?
Yeah, the Ville's really cool. It's got a good vibe. Yeah. Poker's cool, and it's nice to get out in the sun, get in the splash bar, mix it up.
Probably, that's a tough one. Maybe the Orleans in Las Vegas.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Any reason for that?
The 1-1 game's off its head there.
Okay.
Yeah.
For cash?
For cash, yeah.
Very good question, actually. I'm just trying to think. Obviously, Vegas is my old hunting ground. Enjoyed going to Vegas a hell of a lot of times. But if I had to pick a place in Australia, I love the Gold Coast.
Yep.
And overseas, probably Monte Carlo.
Why Monte Carlo? What's so special?
Oh, it's just the beautiful surroundings. It's in a good location. It's on the water. The Monte Carlo Bay Resort, when I went and played the PokerStar series back then, was excellent. Really good place, good food, good people. So it's just a nice surrounding.
Yeah.
Obviously, the weather was very good.
Good question. Eaton's Hill.
Eaton's Hill?
Yeah, APT.
Why's that?
It's because I live close to there.
Okay.
I live in Brisbane, so. But no, Eaton's Hill just is a nice venue. Nice. Lots of restaurants around that, and then there's like a hotel there. And, yeah.
Anywhere? Probably Vegas.
Hey, why's that?
Lots of action, lots of people around, big guarantees, big buy-ins, all these things. Yeah.
It's not Eaton Hills. Maybe I liked Aussie Millions in Melbourne. Yeah, that was always fun. Probably that.
I love the Ville, which is probably a pretty common answer, but the vibe is really fun. And generally, it's a really good mix of people as well. And there's plenty of things to do and see and do after the tournaments are done.
So, Troy, we just heard what some of the players like to play. I think you said last week you like playing at the Ville as well. Would you like to stick with that answer, or you want to say anywhere else that you like playing as well? How's the Gold Coast?
Yeah, I think the Ville, like the scenery and everything's unbelievable. I was actually talking to a player yesterday, and he said that there's a new hotel attached to the Ville now, so it'd be quite interesting to go and have a look at that. And this big infinity pool and everything. So I think it'd be hard to match that anywhere in Australia, I think, but yeah.
Yeah. And we mentioned, Catherine, you'll be up the Ville this year as well. That's in October, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in a few weeks actually. Got my tickets booked, got my accommodation booked, and I'll be there.
Yeah, hopefully the weather's all good up there. No cyclones or anything up there. Usually it's a really great series. Yeah, we're looking forward to that one. Now, just a few results from the WPT. Probably the most relevant one and the biggest one is the 20K WPT Super High Roller. That was taken down by Corey Kempson. He came first, and they did a bit of a chop. Hamish Crawshaw got second. Vincent Huang, he got third. And Angel Gillian, I believe, was also on that table. I'm mentioning all these players because they are part of the State of Origin that's coming up at the APT in Brisbane this week. And Catherine, we were lucky enough to catch up with the State of Origin captain, who's also the APT ambassador, Didier Guérin. So we might just cut to that, and then we'll talk to Troy about that afterwards. It's a privilege to welcome to the Poker Pulse podcast Australian Poker Tour ambassador and the New South Wales State of Origin captain, Didier Guérin. How are you, Didier?
I'm
where
great,
are you
Craig.
at the moment? And are you in camp? Any trash talk? What's happening?
Thanks for having me, guys. It's a pleasure to be here. I watched your first episode, 2 weeks ago, and thought you guys did a great job. So I might say hi. Yeah, I'm actually at the Star Gold Coast right now in my room. And it's been interesting to see who's actually here, honestly. A lot of the old school regs, it honestly felt like an Aussie Millions in like 2013 or something. You know, Matt Wakeman's here, Daniel Nielsen's here, James Obst is here. A couple of the OG guys who haven't been necessarily coming to every series here, and it's pretty interesting.
Obviously, the big news is that the State of Origin is making a comeback after an 11-year hiatus. APT have released via their Facebook page some of the details on that, started releasing all the teams. But for viewers and just people that sort of, haven't been around the poker scene for like a decade, maybe you can just explain the brief history of State of Origin for us, sort of how it will be run, just a simple rundown of how it works, and maybe any other stories or memories that you want to share about it. Yeah, that'd be good.
So the State of Origin began in 2008, and there were 6 iterations. The format actually changed pretty wildly back in the day, but it was very much supported by PokerStars at usually an APPT or ANZPT Melbourne. Its final edition was actually at the Star Sydney in 2013, and that was a heads-up event. The year Tasmania won it in 2010, it was actually a mixed games format. And we're sort of using a bit of the model from the second last one that ran at Crown in 2012, I believe it was, where everyone played an individual sit and go, and then they merged together for like a rotational final table. Joe Hasham had an interesting take on it this year, and he wanted to make sure everyone kept playing, basically. Rather than waiting around and wanting to rotate in, we decided to change it up a bit, and this year it's 3 shootout sit and goes. Players will be getting points for each finishing position. More to come on those exact details, but the captains have them and the players are studying them, so that's an important thing. Yeah, I think it's going to be really exciting to mix with all of the people in the event, and I've just been so thrilled by the responses to some of the people who have been called up. If I'm allowed to quickly, the 2 that probably had me really happy to read were Damien Stanley's, who's the icon for Western Australia, and Adrian Sportelli, who's the icon for the international team. And to see them share the artwork that was made for the teams, and just to hear how happy they are to be facing, pretty big players and getting the call up. They're going to have their surname on a jersey. I think that's the genesis of what we really want to go for. We want to make people feel very special for getting the call up. And I know we'll talk about it more today, but we want to give more of an opportunity for a lot of the grassroots players to join into this event. Happy to share some of those details later.
Obviously, APT, so we've seen the 8 teams released, and that makes sense that there's 8 based on your explanation of how it works. So sit and goes. So one person from each team obviously plays in a sit and go multiple times in multiple rounds, and then the points. So yeah, 8 teams is obviously an increase from the previous system, but yeah, it makes sense. And as I said, I've looked at these teams and they appear to be absolutely stacked. Like some of the guys that I've only heard about and never actually met. For example, Jonathan Karamalakis. I've heard he's a funny guy. Obviously, one of the OG online grinders and high stakes players in Australia. And then we see a guy like just released, I think it was last night by APT, Jungle Man joining the Chinese
Big
team.
name. Look at Kat, she's happy.
Very happy.
Yes, obviously, yeah, and guys like Joe Hasham, yourself, people that I have met, Cale Burns, Sean Ragazzoni, Angel, it's just going to be a huge event, super exciting for all the fans of the games, and someone like Catherine as a dealer and someone who's going to be at the series, you'll be there and about. Yeah, you must be, as I said, you sound pretty excited about seeing some of the guys.
Yeah, I mean, okay, pretty obvious. Jungle Man is I've always loved him. I think he's great for the game. He's got a personality. So obviously I'll be keen to see him. But the New Zealand team, I think, looks very stacked up. I think that WA and also New South Wales. Obviously, I'm from New South Wales, so I'm a little bit biased there. But no, I'm definitely very excited to see how everyone goes. And to deal it, I think will be a very big honor because it's the best of the best, and we are getting to see who is going to take home the trophy. So yeah, this is going to be a great event, and I'm really, really glad that APT are bringing this back. And hopefully it's a really successful format that we can bring into the future.
As Didier mentioned, like a lot of the guys are at the Star already. Obviously, there's a WPT Australia on there at the moment, and they had the WPT 20K super high roller on over the last couple of days, and the final table concluded yesterday. And we saw that I think there was 4 Origin players at that final table, and it was in the end Corey Kempson, the Queenslanding player. He took it out. He did an ICM shot with Hamish Crawshaw, who's the New Zealand captain, and Vincent Huang came thirds. Yeah, Vincent Huang, and then I think Angel was also on the final table, Angel Dillon, so from the international team. So and all the guys.
There were 6 players out of the 9 were State of Origin players.
Really? Okay, yeah. I noticed there was probably 20 of them in that field. There was actually a big field. It might have been more than that. There was a 77-player field, so it certainly looks like.
Yeah, they were talking about it during the event as well. I had the pleasure of playing on my table with Angel, actually, on his way to the FT. Hamish, Andrew Moreno, who's the vice captain of the international team. He's a super exciting name to have coming. He's actually Christianette's partner, who used to work with Lynn Gilmartin on Poker News. And she's actually another name we tried to lure into the event, but Christy and Lynn are actually spending the day together. So hopefully next year. I'll be on the phone to Lynn's parents to see if they can help Mind Bodhi, their son, because I know Angel wrote a really sweet message to Zoe Charters on the Australian poker schedule. And she had a really thoughtful message about the selection and the teams. And it was really nice that he popped into the comments to just respond about how touched Lynn was about her consideration about her. And was definitely devastated that she couldn't play this year, but very much hoping next year it happens. But sorry, back to the 20K. Cale was on the table. Travis Endersby was on the table. So the vice captain of Western Australia, the captain of New South Wales, New Zealand, the international team, and the 2 vice captains of the international team in Victoria. And it was great to have Travis there as well because, playing at 20K is a really big experience for him. And we got to have this really great conversation about the price point, which is a 3.5K buy-in for everyone, making it a 21K buy-in per team. And, having Cale there who plays 6-figure buy-ins, and Travis, and for a lot of the Western Australians, frankly, 3.5K is a lot more money than it is to someone like Cale. But what I find so exciting is that the passion is just bringing them together at the same kind of level of excitement. And it's so rare to see anything in poker where someone, don't get me wrong when I say this, doesn't care about the buy-in in wanting to just represent them, not something for themselves, but for their team and for their state. And that encourages me a lot to see how many of these like superstar players have come to immediately want to hop in and join the event. They clearly know the nostalgia from previous iterations. And I think it makes it really accessible for people who aren't into poker and watching poker as well. Hopefully some really big news coming out in the coming days or weeks about how it's going to be broadcast. Can't say anything yet, but, TBC. And I'm hoping that opportunity allows a lot of our friends and family to kind of see what we're doing and do it in a way where we're all supporting each other as friends and teammates. And hopefully it's just an event on the calendar that everyone wants to try and qualify for. Hopefully it's something that people, regardless of their buy-in, look at and say, hey, that's a lot of fun. I want to be a part of that. And that's part of the plan.
Yeah.
Well, I do love what you said there about how because poker is a very individual sport. Like we all know that at the end of the day, most people, when they play poker, it's about them. It's about sitting down at a table and taking home that victory. And it's so great to see that even though just in the New South Wales team alone, there's probably like all of you are champions, but it's not about that anymore. It's about like, okay, how can you all work together to make you guys all the champion? And it's just so good to see that you've made like an event where you can put it all together, come together as a team and work for your team and try and take it home. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are very excited about it. But I mean, it's up at APT up in Brisbane. As I said, all the guys are in town. And I saw I don't know the Chinese team very well. I saw them they're even already wearing their jackets like they've travelled over here as a team to the Star and they're playing the 20Ks. I think the concept's amazing. It's going to get a lot of hype. As you said, sounds like you've got some exciting stuff to announce in the next few days, which is great. You know, looking through the teams, it looks like a lot of the State of Origin teams are high stakes players and full-time professionals with like incredible resumes. Even some of the icons, you know, they are exactly that. Guys like Robert Spano and Martin Ward, you know, they're not professional players, but you know when they're in the room because you know they're just very well respected. Yeah, so that's a great concept as well. Just wanted to find out from you, Didier, how that sort of team selection process works. So you're the captain of New South Wales, obviously. Alex Lindsay's the captain of Queensland. Yeah, how's that sort of selection process go down? Do you guys discuss between yourselves, or is it all top secret? You know.
So I definitely was part of the discussion with APT about some of the captains. I wouldn't want to hide that, but only as a sounding board. It was very much their final decision. And then once that happened, I was just responsible for my own team. And I wouldn't want to comment on how the other captains necessarily pick their teams because I'm not going to speak for them. But for my own part, I thought it was a really fun and collaborative process because as I added my first player, who was Alex Trevelyan, a very easy pick for me, being arguably the best cash game player, the champion of a 25K Aussie Millions event, but also just someone who I've grown up with, looking up to in not only the poker world, but my life. He was in the year above me at school, actually. So the fact that we're representing New South Wales coming together from the same school is a bit of a Cranbrook pride. And I basically said to him, who do you think's next? And then we added Malcolm. It would have been pretty outrageous not to pick, you know, one of third most recent bracelet winner, but obviously New South Welshman winning one of the biggest events at the WSOP this year. I was very fortunate to get to see him do that for $1 million US, I believe it was. And just on that, by the way, such a good Instagram story. I know he's going to be a social media whiz on the day. He was playing Daft Punk's One More Time every time he pulled the minimum mystery bounty every single time. And within the context of someone like running like God to win a tournament, ran as badly as possible getting mystery bounties. I think he got like 13 min bounties. Hilarious. We added Malcolm to the team. We had another discussion. And at that point, we'd sort of got the brief from APT that we wanted to have an icon, which was not a very well-defined term, if I'm honest, in the sense that it was just someone who we thought could really handle a fun media table and be a personality. And it was pretty funny that like the three of us sort of with a blind vote all went for Robert Spanner. And I'm super excited to have him on the team. To be just imagining him shouting, "Yeah, baby," at every opportunity is something I'm really visualizing and picturing. Once he was on the team, we added Adam Carmen, who I think was the last man standing in the WSOP main event this year, maybe the second or third, but he went super deep. These weren't hard choices for our team. And then we added Jarrett Thatcher, who gave us our second catchphrase of our team. When will it end? So we're loaded with catchphrases now, but away from being a great guy and very funny, he might have the best domestic record of any of us in this country, but he has 20 domestic titles and his Hendon mob is something like 1.1 million US. Despite playing in AUD, despite just playing Australian tournaments, it's sort of like that 1 to 2K price point mainly. I think that's an incredibly impressive record. So I have all the faith in the world in the people who I've picked. And what I was really excited as a captain was that it became a collaborative process, which meant that we all kind of had a say. So New South Wales are very united and we're a tight-knit team.
Yeah, all right. And has there been much trash talk? As you said, you did speak about it a bit with the other players in the 20K.
Yeah,
Any
well,
sort of-
Corey obviously was given the brief by Linsky, who of course is sadly banned by Star and should really be here as one of the best players in the country. That's why he is the Queensland captain. I think, when people have a conversation about the very best player in this country, I tend to think most people mention Adamo and Kale, and then Linsky is the very next name. He's such a naturally brilliant player. I don't think he's like, don't get me wrong, he studies, but he kind of strikes me as more of a bit of a Kale or a Daniel Nielsen where he really figures it out as he goes. And I don't think there's a lot of natural talent in this game. You look at someone else like, sorry, I shouldn't say it like that. I think other players are much more well studied as opposed to naturally talented, and they put a lot of time into studying. And then those with the limited amount of natural talent in this game who can combine both are just very powerful. So I'm sad that he's not here. He clearly gave the brief to Corey to represent Queensland, and Corey, the vice captain of Queensland, has won the 20K. So that should give the Queenslanders a lot of hope. I will not be giving them any credit on the day. It will only be banter directed at Alex. So this is very much the last opportunity that you'll hear me say anything nice about him at all. From here on out, he's just an enemy. Look, I feel the same way about the other captains as well. I just respect them all hugely. And I wouldn't want to comment too much on the way they selected their teams either. I think that's for them to speak about if they want to. But I'm certainly happy to address other issues in the selection process if you like.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, well, now we do know how you did go about selecting and what the process was, and that you weren't really given a criteria of what you had to do. It was just pure selection. We've seen some online chatter about there not being many ladies chosen. Obviously, there wasn't. You must choose a lady. That wasn't a thing. Is there any comment that you want to make on that on your end, or anything that you want to say about why maybe there wasn't as many females chosen for this state of origin?
Yeah, thank you for asking. I'm very happy to have the opportunity to discuss it. I didn't comment on the day of the release of the New South Wales and the Victorian teams. The Queensland teams, which were the first to release, when some of the comments started coming out about female representation. And there were two reasons for that. One, I knew that New Zealand was coming out the next day with Sosia in it, who is a fantastic player in her own right, who was selected because she is a fantastic player and an icon for New Zealand as someone who's represented them in £1 million buy-in, £1 million buy-in at Triton. And I also optically didn't want to come in as admittedly someone who picked an all-male team and feel like I was maybe either wanting to argue or quash any discussion, because what I noticed was 99% of people had a really positive contribution to discussing representation about females in poker. And there were some good candidates brought up. What I would like to highlight, if I may, is that I thought there were some other excellent candidates who I know were reached out to by their teams. I know we spoke about Lynn Gilmartin earlier and Christy Arnett for the international team. One that really hurt me actually in the end was that someone who I respect a lot, both as a person, as a player, Heidi May, who won the WSOP ladies event a couple of years ago, said yes to come and play in the Tasmanian team. And unfortunately, the Tasmanian team couldn't field the team this year. So that was really sad because she was in and keen. And anyone who's played with Heidi knows that she is super aggressive and she's very hard to play against. So she would have been great to have here on the day. I know that Jen Cassell is over in APT Taiwan, and she would have been someone I'm pretty sure called up. Same with Bert as well. Also going to APT Taiwan. And I'm obviously super happy to have Sosia in the event. And I believe 5 out of the 8 teams attempted or reached out to females this year to get them in. So I totally understand the comments when unfortunately we only have one this year, but hopefully providing a context where I can speak out and tell people that 5 out of the 8 teams actually wanted to get a female or even 2 in the international team's case. Sadly, that couldn't happen. I really hope it gets better next year. And I know a lot of people have brought up the idea of quotas in the comments. My personal take when I apply it to State of Origin would be that if we had a situation where only 1 female was selected next year, I would advocate for quotas. When I see in the background how many of the captains tried to get females this year and some were overseas. Oh, sorry. One name I should also mention is Tanya Vujanic. Hopefully I'm not butchering her surname there, from Western Australia, who's a great Omaha player and a great tournament player at NL. I think the only person in my memory who I can remember beating James Obst heads up in a tournament. And I was really sad that she couldn't make the WA team as well. I hope all of these people can come next year. And if there's only one female next year, I would be advocating for quotas. But my natural instinct, based on what I saw in the background, is just to say that I think they'll naturally be filled by females next year. And of course, I hope people give us the opportunity at APT to sort of hear that this is the first bringing it back. We're not going to get everything nailed and right and 11 out of 10 the first time. We're going to be learning and listening to people and taking on feedback as we try and make it a bigger and better event. But I think the general vibe of this year is to try and make people feel special for the call up, attract really big names, and get it out there and get people excited about it. Because my hope that I'm happy to share now is that whether it's the icon role or we add another roster spot in future years, is there's going to be an opportunity for a qualifier from all the teams. And that will be a process of them either satelliting in or maybe using a player of the year or player of the series system at APT throughout the year to naturally reward players who have demonstrated their level of success. So I want to give someone in South Australia the opportunity to demonstrate what they've done throughout the year and then get to meet Jonathan Karamelikis and get to play with Joe Sandid. I think that's a really cool idea that will make people want to naturally qualify. And if I may, the most exciting thing is seeing your jersey with your surname on the back. And I think that's something that people can aspire to in a different kind of way to just naturally winning money.
I think that you've just hit the nail on the head. Like, even just hearing that, I think is a brilliant idea that you've got working in the background, because to know now that so many females were asked, I think is great. And I'm really glad that you shared that. But I don't want females to end up being some token addition to the ending. I want it to be like that. I want it to be where, you know, they're actually being recognized for something and that they're actually good and that they're good enough to be asked. So I'm really glad that you are considering that, and that it's not just going to be some addition at the end where we're an afterthought. And clearly we weren't. Clearly there were many, many teams who thought about females. So thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Again, I just want to say how great the discussion was from so many females who had their say. And that's why I didn't want to come in and feel like I was minimizing any of that discussion by saying, hey, I picked all these guys for whatever reason, because I just appreciated the discussion I got to see. I listened, I saw. I know a lot of the other captains did. And I know, for example, Alex reached out to Gina and wrote a nice message. And she's been really nice to talk to and to take on her feedback as well. Because I can understand the reaction seeing one female in all the teams out of 8. So, there's no ill will or hard feelings from me, from any of those people who spoke up. In fact, I encourage it every single time.
Excellent to hear. Obviously, no one in poker wants to see any of the women left out or anything like that. In fact, the opposite. There's so many
exactly.
Ladies events and everything now, and it's great. And it's good to see APT. They've even gone to the extent of putting 2 female ambassadors on. APL's obviously had Jackie Glazey for a number of years, and there's a lot of really good players that are up and coming in the women's poker scene, and I'm sure that we'll see them in the future. But I think we just need to get on to the most important part, I guess, of this conversation, and that is the predictions of who's going to win. Now, obviously,
I might be biased here, Craig.
Yeah, well, I think we're all biased. You're the New South Wales captain, obviously, so you're going to be biased. Catherine, you've already said you're from New South Wales. I was born in New South Wales. So I'm cheering for New South Wales as well.
So are we saying our predictions without New South Wales, maybe?
Well, maybe we can pick the top 3, and we'll see how wrong we go. Yeah, no. Looking at the teams, who do you think, Didier? You go first. Who's your top 3?
New Zealand, Victoria, and the international team.
How about you, Catherine? Have you had a look through the teams? Who do you think's going to? You might be cheering for the Chinese team with Jungle Man. I don't know.
Look, I do love Jungle Man, but if I was to put a prediction in without New South Wales in there, I would probably go with WA, international team, and Victoria.
I'm going to pick. I like to look at the Victorian team. They're all professional superstars, and actually we didn't mention him yet, but Andrew Bogut is the icon for the Victorians.
Huge scoop, obviously, honestly, there.
Yeah, huge name there. He's the NBA titles and stuff as a professional basketballer. Yeah, so it'll just be cool to see him there.
Appreciated Naj's comment on the Victorian team. You guys have a decent centre.
Yeah, yeah, they do. So I'd go Victoria, and I think Queensland will be in it just based on form, and New Zealand. So Victoria, Queensland, and New Zealand, just based on the form.
You can appreciate I would never mention Queensland in these predictions.
Yeah. So I think Queensland second.
I mean, I should probably ask you, Craig, aren't you a Queenslander?
Yeah, my wife.
State of origin.
Yeah, like what's going on here?
My wife calls me a traitor because I cheer for Queensland in the State of Origin Rugby League, but I always have just because growing up as a kid, I followed the Broncos, and all my I couldn't bring myself to cheer for the New South Wales team when all my heroes were playing for the Queensland Maroons. So I've always cheered for Queensland there in the rugby league, but in poker, there's nothing like that. I'm born in New South Wales, so New South Wales it is. And
okay, I'm glad to have you on board.
If I was to change careers and get into a poker professional sort of capacity and get there, I'd represent New South Wales for sure. So as you said, getting your name on the jersey is a massive thing, and it's like if you follow State of Origin in the rugby league or any other sport really, it is a big deal. People get passionate about it, and that's what we want. We want to hype it up. So I wanted to sort of leave it there, wrap up the chat for now. Just say thanks for coming on, Didier. Like having guests on like you is fantastic. The podcast really needs the support of guests like yourself. So thanks for coming in. And Catherine, thanks again. And you'll see us buzzing around at various series and that, doing some different content and stuff. Catherine will be doing some questions and short little segments and things. You see us around, don't be afraid. We're happy to get you on the podcast. We want it to be about players and talk about all sorts of things. So any suggestions or whatever. And other than that, I think we'll see you at the State of Origin.
See you at APT, guys.
Thank you for having me, guys.
See ya.
Thank you for that, Didier and Craig. Troy, I would just love to get your input. Who do you think is going to win the State of Origin?
I think it's going to be pretty close, but I think probably Victoria would probably be the team to beat. There's a few very big names in there, or maybe even New Zealand. New Zealand's got a pretty strong side as well, so they'd probably be my two picks.
Is there any reason that you're biased towards Victoria there, or?
I am from Victoria, but no, I think their team's probably one of the stronger teams out of the bunch. I think.
Fair pick. I mean, they're definitely up there on my list too. Great. It's going to be a really blockbuster event. We're really excited for the APT. Speaking of, Craig, I hear we have a giveaway for the APT.
That's right, we do. And this is the viewers' chance to pick now who they think is going to win State of Origin, as well as the player in that team that's going to score the most points. So the prize will be a ticket to the blockbuster event at APT in Brisbane. It's a $350 ticket. So all you have to do, firstly, you've got to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on social, put in a comment on our YouTube chat who you think the team is that's going to win and which player is going to score the most points. So get in there and do that now. We'll be watching the State of Origin on Friday, obviously. We'll see who wins it, and we'll try and draw that on Friday night because the blockbuster is on Saturday, the 28th of September. So we'll be giving away a ticket there. That's super exciting. And Troy, where are you going to be heading up to next after this series?
More than likely Taipei. So I think it's APT in Taipei, I think.
Yeah, Asian Poker Tour, yep. And have you booked any accommodation there or anything like that yet?
I haven't. Very spontaneous with stuff like that. So I missed out on getting one of the high roller packages because you had to book it like months in advance. So I'll just sort it out probably today or tomorrow.
So you book things a little bit last minute. That's what you're telling us, yeah?
Yes.
Well, that's interesting because, Catherine, we actually caught up with a few players, didn't we, this week? What did we ask them again?
Who is their least favourite person to travel with on a poker tour?
Oh, okay. That'll be interesting. So let's cut to that player probe now and let's see what they said.
Who would you least like to share a room with on a poker tour?
Top of my head, it's got to be Troy Mclean, right?
Why is that?
I thought these boys call him Troy McUnclean. Yeah, I don't think it's that clever, but That's what they say.
I like that.
Yeah, or McDirty. Yeah. Yeah.
Who would be the least favorite person to share a room with on a poker tour?
Troy Mclean. Snap call.
Troy Mclean. No, I'd actually. I don't know. In general, I don't share my room. Just in general.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna go with Troy just for shits and giggles.
My best man, Tino. I shared a room with him in Sydney. Absolute disaster. One time, he got me sick. Oh my goodness!
Is he messy?
Huh?
Is he messy or just?
A pig's less messy.
Oh, that's the best.
That was it. I said, never again, Tino. That was it. Long time ago. He got me sick as a dog. It was a main event. I came down. It took me half an hour to walk 30 metres. I was cramped up. My body was aching. COVID-19 had nothing on what he gave me.
Who is your least favourite person to travel with on a tour? Or to share a room with?
I haven't shared a room with many people.
Okay.
I guess it'll be Adam Taggart.
Then why is that?
He snores.
Oh, he snores.
But I snore too, so.
So it'd be the perfect match, really.
Perfect match.
It's got to be Liam Jahu.
Why is that?
Liam Jahu in the last week has partied more than my entire life. I will never stay in a house with that kid again.
Least favourite person to travel with on a poker tour?
That's kind of tough because I reckon my least favorite would be my favorite as well.
Oh, why's that?
So, for example, Nathaniel,
Yeah.
one of my best mates, but he snores.
Gotcha.
Like Liam Jehu as well. Those two. Liam, one of my best mates, but we get no sleep because he's always partying. So it's like, you know, the mix. Yeah. So favorite and worst at the same time.
I'll give Troy a chance to defend himself. What do you got to say, Troy? A couple of people said you are, you're a fun person to stay with, basically.
Yeah.
A bit of a stitch up there, I think, for you. I, for one, say that you've stayed with us a few times. I've never had a problem staying with us. I also snore a bit.
Did Mike just say, how was that even a question? We're throwing someone under the bus here, Mike, and that'd be this guy right here.
Oh, Troy might get
it. I suppose I'm not that bad to stay with that one, Mike.
Nah, ask him in 2 weeks. How about you, Catherine? Do you how do you snore? Do you know? Who do you stay with on tour?
I mean, I've been very lucky. I usually get to stay with females, and I would say that females are the good ones to stay with. We're tidier, and we don't snore as much at night. So I haven't been shafted with a bad roommate yet. So I'm just gonna go with Troy. I've never stayed with you, and I don't know if I want to after all this.
Anyone you don't like staying with particularly?
No, I mean, no, not really.
No, you're pretty easy.
Yeah,
I'm pretty easy too. I'm just happy to have a bed these days and, just hang out with people. It's good if you're with poker players. So, it makes the tour as much for fun. Speaking of staying places, we've got some upcoming series. APT obviously starts this Friday, 27th of September, goes through the October 6th. Poker Palace also having the Six Max series down at Marconi Club. Then, as Catherine mentioned earlier, we move up to the Ville. APL have got Kedron Park. Brisbane, Sydney Millions in October, November, Empire later on in the year as well. Plenty of poker coming up. We're just going to wrap up the show, but I just want to make sure everyone that's watching this channel hits the like and subscribe button. You'll get notifications, all of our short content, all of these episodes. Like us on social media. We've got Facebook, we've got Instagram. We're also now putting this podcast on Spotify, Apple and Amazon Music as well, for those who just like to listen to us. That's going to be coming up there every couple of weeks as well. So look, we're really excited for the content that we're creating. We've got Troy and Catherine, they're sort of committed to this long term. We're going to try and do everything every 2 weeks. Catherine and I will be up at APT this week, so we'll be buzzing around there. We'll have the camera and some microphones. So if you see us, say good day. Don't be afraid to get part of the show. Yeah, looking forward to seeing you all.
Well, I was just going to say, guys, if you do want to be a part of this, if you do have anything that you have recommendations or suggestions, or if you just want to be a part of the show in some way, shape or form, don't feel afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to leave a comment. Definitely come by and say hi to us when we see you at APT.
Yeah, also, make sure you check out the official Cathy on Instagram and 5Bet Bluff on Instagram as well. They share some great stories, particularly some poker content. So make sure you follow them as well. And that'll be all. We'll catch you next time. Cheers.
See ya.
Bye, guys.